Join Charles Comer and James Spencer as they dive headfirst into the chaotic world of Saturday college football games, dissecting all the jaw-dropping upsets and sharing their unfiltered opinions. They're here to give you the inside scoop on all the exhilarating twists and turns that make college football so unpredictable on the Over&Under podcast. In 3,
Good morning,
2,
good afternoon,
1.
Wherever you are. Yours truly, Charles Comer and James Spencer on the Over&Under podcast. How you doing, James?
What's up, everybody? What's up?
We got a lot to jump into.
Yeah, it's a lot going on from yesterday. I guess we'll get right into it. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with our records from last week. You come in as 9-1. Came in as 7-3. Was looking for a little bit of help this weekend, and I got it. So after this weekend, I'm 15-5. You know, still not leading the pack, and you're 17-3. But I caught up. You know, I got a lot of catching up to do, but I still caught up a little bit. 2 games. You know, nothing too major.
I still do this. Really, that's all it is. I mean, I only lost 2. I mean, it is what it is. That's fine. You say you're gonna catch up, but I don't see it happening. I do this.
This week I'll catch up.
All right. Whatever you say.
All right, but let's just dive right into this. You have Notre Dame and Clemson, and it was a redemption game for Clemson, basically. You got to put some respect on Dabo Swinney's name and the Clemson Tigers. They obviously started out 4-4. Is not ideal for a championship team like Clemson, or championship program, I should say. But I think Dabo lit a fire under the team, and the defense really showed some sparks during this game. You had Cade Klubnik, who was 16 for 26, 109 yards. But the real story of this was Phil Maffa. 36 carries, which is a lot of carries. I don't know how many.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of carries. 36 carries, 186 yards, averaging 5 yards a carry. Coming into this game, Notre Dame was only allowing 120 yards on the ground, and Maffa literally destroyed them. So, you know, my main takeaway from this game was definitely Clemson came into play, because if you take last weekend, Miami, and the games before that, it wasn't looking good. Dabo was having a lot of trouble on the radio. He was hosting. People were telling him, "Why are we paying you $11 million?" and we were on 4-4. So Dabo had a lot to prove here.
What's it called? Clemson did come into play, but give it to Notre Dame for trying to fight back and almost coming back. But I feel like it could have been a runaway game for them if they would have started off hot. But I mean, that pick he threw in the beginning of I think it was the first half, and to what's his name, Jeremiah Trotter, that was deflating. They were moving, and I mean, give it to Clemson for showing up. I mean, like you said, Dabo over here acting crazy and just throwing everybody under the bus. He had to show up and do something, because, I mean, 4-4 for Clemson, I mean, that's not what you expect from that program. But kudos to them for pulling that one out. Notre Dame fought as much as they could, but, I mean, that's the team that you have to go in there and beat, especially being as high as ranked as you are. But as any given Saturday, anybody can lose, which a lot of these teams were close to doing this week. But, again, kudos to Clemson pulling that one out.
I think Notre Dame is really overrated. I think they just had a couple of good wins. They played a good game in Ohio State. I mean, Audric Estime was a running back in the preseason that was on a Heisman watch for a couple analysts, and he only had 86 yards. Hartman is a 6-year college quarterback. Let me say that again. 6 years he's been in this, right? He is 0-5 against Clemson. In his last 3 or 4 games, he's committed 9 turnovers. In Louisville, he threw 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles. They lost 33-20. In this game, Clemson, 2 interceptions. They lost the game 31-23. In Pittsburgh, a game that they won convincingly, but however, still, he threw 2 red zone interceptions. I mean, just Notre Dame lost every battle in this game. Time of possession, they had 28 minutes. Clemson 31. They had 5 penalties, 40 yards. Clemson was squeaky clean on penalties, 0. And then they lost the turnover battle. You know, they had 3 compared to Clemson's 2. So overall, that interception was costly. But it was a good win by Clemson. They are 5-4. They have a chance to make a bowl game, which is good for Dabo. I don't think he's completely out the hot seat, but the wins for sure put some ice on it. Notre Dame goes into a bye week, and Clemson goes to host the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Don't we love the Yellow Jackets upsetting North Carolina last week? But
I can see them being Clemson, to be honest. Unless Clemson just picks it up and they're just gonna go on a win streak. But I don't see it. I think this was just a good winner for them, but I don't see it turning over to next week. I feel like the Yellow Jackets will pull it out. But that's just me.
Yeah, you know, I may bet that because there may be a win I take away from you because I don't think you're on the right side of there.
All right.
But let's go to the neighborhood. The final battle in Bedlam. You had Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State. James, you know I love when Oklahoma teams loses as a Texas fan, and I was rooting. I was rooting for the Cowboys. I'm not talking about the Dallas Cowboys. I'm talking about the Oklahoma State Cowboys. What are your takeaways from this game?
Them Oklahoma State receivers were making some crazy catches. They were anything that they wanted. They were just moving the ball, and they were just dominant all around. And this dude, Ollie Gordon, 33 carries, 137 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That man was unstoppable. Man, I never watched him play until this weekend, and that man's the real deal. This dude is crazy good. And then really, Oklahoma, they really shot themselves in the foot with the turnover margin with 2 lost fumbles and then an interception thrown. So for the most part, Oklahoma State kept it clean. He threw 1 pick, but that wasn't detrimental to them. But Oklahoma, man, I love to see it, but man, y'all cannot go in there, especially trying to move to the SEC. You can't be losing games like this at all.
Yes, they cannot be losing games like this. And when you said they shot themselves in the foot, you go last week, they had 3 turnovers against Kansas, 11 penalties, 101 yards. And then you go into this week, they got 3 turnovers in Bedlam, 8 penalties for 55 yards. It's looking like an undisciplined team. And in these rivalry games, they're usually won when the team is the most disciplined and taking care of the ball and not committing turnovers that end drives. And Oklahoma had a lot of turnovers that ended their drives.
Yeah, it was ugly.
Dylan Gabriel, 26 for 37, 344 yards, 1 interception. What I tell you about that boy Bowman, 28 for 42, 334, no turnovers. It was a good game. Going into next week, Oklahoma's going to play West Virginia. West Virginia is not a bad team at all.
Nope.
They're not a bad team. They had 2 running backs actually this week that rushed for over 100 yards, and Oklahoma had trouble with Ollie Gordon, so I'm pretty sure they're going to have trouble with West Virginia next week. Oklahoma State goes on the road to play UCF. So we just want to congratulate the Oklahoma State Cowboys on a good win. I appreciate y'all making my Saturday because we'll get to that game later in Texas because that was
real quick though. Ollie Gordon cannot be throwing the ball up like that.
Oh no, man!
You see that duck he threw, bro? You just gotta eat that, man. You gotta eat that. I was dying when they threw that, bro.
You know, the what's crazy to me, you know, he didn't start playing it's a starting position until like 3 games ago.
Oh, really?
Like literally, Oklahoma State was the favorite for the Big 12 this year. It was supposed to be Texas versus Oklahoma State. And then you had Oklahoma come out of nowhere, and Oklahoma State was losing. I think they lost like 2 games. People were like, oh, this is over with. But you know, they finally figured it out. They're like, hey, you know what? Let's let Bowman have the position, and then let's have a running back that's probably going to be in a race for a Heisman if he keeps going the way he does.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Yeah.
And we're gonna go ahead and win the last Bedlam, and that's how they do it. But I need Oklahoma to keep losing because it just looks bad, and I love it. I love it. But let's talk about your boy Jimbo Fisher.
My boy.
Yeah,
All right.
let's talk about your boy Jimbo Fisher. Even though I did take Texas A&M over Ole Miss, that's the game that I lost to you this week.
That's crazy.
I don't understand Texas A&M, like their talent composite. Like when I mean talent composite, like the talent that they have on their team is literally, I think, second in the SEC. The only team above them is Georgia. That means they got more talent than Bama. They got more talent than Missouri, Kentucky, all those teams. And they just go out here. In the first half, bro, Ole Miss was shooting on all cylinders.
Yes.
Like Ole Miss was shooting on all cylinders. Jackson Dart is going to be a problem.
What's that man's name? The receiver. Man was mossing people. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but man, he was going crazy. Trey Harris. Trey Harris.
Yeah, he caught that. I think it was 3rd and 12. He caught that one-handed.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
This man was mossing people. He was everywhere on the field. 11 receptions for 213 and a touchdown, man. He was going crazy. I feel like Ole Miss would have ran away with it if it wasn't for that block kick. And that really turned things around for A&M, and they started actually playing well. But if it wasn't for that, I feel like Ole Miss was just going to run away with the game the way it was going for them. They were hitting on all cylinders. They could not be stopped for anything.
You know, prior to this game, Texas A&M had the best defensive line in the SEC. When you look at one talent composite and like rushing yards allowed,
could have fooled me.
Yeah, because Quishon Judson went for 3 touchdowns, 102 yards on the ground.
Yeah,
I mean, it was. Lane Kiffin is a weird coach. Like, he talks to the media a lot. He talks in social media a lot. You know, he still hasn't beaten Nick Saban, which is funny to me because he wants to do that. But we gotta talk about Jimbo Fisher, man. Does A&M get him out? Does A&M, get that $70 million buyout? Does it get collected by the Aggies booster this week? Or
I don't think so. I think they're gonna ride out with him for maybe one more year, and if it doesn't work out next year, then I think he'd be out. But I think they're gonna ride with him for one more year at least. Just one more. I could be wrong, but that's a lot of money just to let him go right now. I feel like you have to give him like one more season, and then if it's the same thing, then you have to let him go. But I don't know.
Say they don't make a bowl game. How do you feel? Because they're 4-5, right? And next week they can definitely be 5. They play Mississippi State, which is like the worst team in the SEC right now.
Who all they got left besides them? Let me see.
Ole Miss. Texas A&M has Mississippi State,
ACU. So, I think they'll still make a bowl. It's not going to be a good bowl, but they'll make a bowl. And what's it called? I think they'll be all right. But like I said, one more season, and if it's the same old thing, he has to go. But right now, I think you just have to ride it out and go from there. And hopefully, I mean, like you said, they have the talent. They're just not showing up. They just got to figure that out. Figure out how to put all this talent together to have a really good football program. Because I mean, you can have all the talent in the world, but if they're not performing, then what's it worth? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're going to be in the AutoZone Bowl probably.
The AutoZone Bowl. the cricket bowl, cricket mobile bowl, or something like that.
Mobile bowl. The way they're playing, but yeah, Ole Miss, they're 8-1. They'll head to Atlanta next week and play Georgia Bulldogs, which will be an interesting.
That'll be a good game. Yeah,
and then the Aggies will host Mississippi State next week and try to become bowl eligible. So we will see how that goes. Good luck to Lane Kiffin to beat the Georgia Bulldogs, and Jimbo Fisher is probably getting away with the scam of a lifetime of how much they're paying him. So,
hey, that is what it is. Get your money.
Get your money is what you say, but I need to make sure that this next team, Texas, I need them to get it together, bro.
Hey, man, I told you it was going to be a close game, but the way it went at the beginning, it looked like Texas was just going to run away with it, to be honest. And then this man, bro, oh my goodness, bro. The picks he threw,
horrible.
Unnecessary turnovers to put Kansas State back into the game. They should have just kept doing what they're doing. If win it now, give Brooks the ball, bro. That's all you have to do. Just give him the ball and let him run. Because y'all were already at, 17-0 or something like that? And then you just throw the ball up for grabs to nobody? That was crazy to me. It just, I don't know. He has talent, but under duress, just random just picks here and there, that's not going to win you football games. They lucky they won this game, to be honest. They barely pulled that out. They going into like TCU or Tech at the end of the season, and if he's still playing, one of these teams might beat Texas. If he's still doing the same things, he has to clean that up for them to keep pushing forward and winning these ball games. But these turnovers got to stop. Because I mean, he wasn't even like a receiver dropped it or something, and the corner picked it up or something. He's just throwing it right to them. Like, you can't do that, man. You can't do that.
So on the day, Malik Murphy was 19 of 37. Oh my goodness. 51% completion rate, 248 yards, and as you said, 2 costly turnovers. And I know you said you wanted Brooks to have the ball, but Brooks fumbled in a very critical time, right? I feel like for me, like, to examine the whole game, like Murphy, he didn't have a horrible performance last week against BYU, but it wasn't top tier, right? It was enough to get the job done.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking coming into this game, like, okay, the first game jitters, you didn't get your reps. Archie Manning was in the back of your head probably. They're going to give him the start. They're not going to give you your chance, but you get your chance. You don't play great, but you don't play horrible, right?
Yeah. And
you were going to come out this game and we're going to be good. First couple series, I'm like, okay, this is what I need. This is you threw a bomb.
Yeah.
I mean, threw a bomb down there. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a wrap. I may not even need Ewers back if you keep throwing it like that. Mm-hmm. And then you throw an interception. You threw it to the guy like y'all were playing catch. I was like, there's no way. I'm like, okay, all right, I can let that one go. But you do it again?
Yup.
And I'm just like, warm him up. Warm Archie up. But then I think back, they're saying Archie is worse than Malik. It was in the spring game. So do we really have another backup with Malik if Archie is worse? Like, if
all I'm saying is Ewers need to come back as soon as possible.
Ewers needs to come back because I don't know how long this defense can withstand like games like this, but I will say we probably have the best defensive line core in the nation. You got Tavondre Sweat and Ethan Burks. They did a great job containing the Kansas State rush game. Kansas only rushed for 43 yards the whole day. It was like 28 rushes, so that's like 1.5 yards per game or per carry. The secondary, however, is going to be a liability. 327 yards through the air.
And 4 TDs.
And 3 of those TDs came in 5 minutes. I just want to go ahead and say that. In 5 minutes, 3 touchdowns came. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Crazy, man.
They got to get that figured out because if we're gonna go to a national championship game, I promise you, Georgia, Oregon, Florida State, with their wide receiver core, Keon Coleman may go for like 275.
Yep. It wasn't looking good for them at all. This dude Howard, he wasn't playing a great game. This all came like in the second half. Not even the second half, like the fourth quarter.
It was the fourth quarter. It was like Texas was like, okay, yeah, we won the game. Let's go give up 21 points real quick. Let's make it interesting, right? And to be honest with you, I think Kansas State could have won the game.
Yep.
Because their coach made a call, and I'm not mad at the call because obviously I'm a Texas fan, but I'm not as a fan of football, college football. I'm not mad at the call because one, you're in their stadium, everything's been going good for you. You got the touchdown. All right, cool. Let's go for two. Let's go ahead and go for two. But you didn't count on Tavontre Sweat and the defensive line just putting their ears back and say, "Nah, we're not losing this at the crib."
Yeah.
But, I mean, going forward, yeah, I do need Ewers back, man. And quickly.
Immediately.
He puts me in a hurry. Because if Archie Manning is worse than Malik, I really have worries about the future of Texas quarterback depth. And we're going into the SEC next year.
Yeah, that's trouble.
It's not looking well.
Nope. Got to figure that out quick. But for now, I mean, they won, so their schedule going forward is not super hard, but it's just if he keeps throwing the ball up like this and having these kind of random turnovers that are, if any other team, I mean, Kansas State should have won that game, to be honest. So, I mean, they got TCU, Iowa State, and Tech left. And you know how that Tech game goes most of the time. It's going to be...
It's in Lubbock at night. Yeah, it's going to be a Lubbock at night, and it's going to be another Crabtree situation where he catches the ball in the last 3 seconds, and then I'm going to be over here like, well, there goes my season. You know?
Yeah. But hopefully Ewers is back by then, but, I mean, got to cut down the turnovers. Just the way he came... Yeah, run it. I mean, that's...
6'5".
You have that...
6'5", 230 pounds, bro. He can run the ball.
Yep. You have that. You have that in you. Just got to do it. And I mean, he came out hot. Just be consistent with that. And I mean, you'll be good. Just I don't know what happened in those drives where he threw those picks. Because I mean, it wasn't like a lot of pressure or anything like that. He just threw it up to nothing.
I know the second pick he threw, the wide receiver slipped.
Okay.
Worthy slipped. So that was one. But the other one,
it
was just like, hey, man, I owe you something here. Let me just go ahead and throw your bone. But,
let me give you a gift real quick, bro.
Yeah. So,
but
yeah, they go to TCU next week. So hopefully we can get through these games and we'll see who's going to be in the Big 12 championship. If we have to play Oklahoma State, I'm telling you right now, I'm taking the over. I'm taking the over. I'm betting that game. I'm taking the over.
You think it's gonna be OK State, or who else do you feel?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be OK State. I don't think OK State's gonna lose from now on. OK State, Texas, in Dallas. I might try to get tickets to that because I think I'm off.
Oh, big bet.
But moving forward, the 88th time these teams have met on the field, and this time it was in Tuscaloosa. You had your Alabama. I even forgot their nickname. Yeah, the Alabama. Oh man, that's crazy. So LSU Tigers in Alabama. I'm not editing that out too. I just literally a brain fart. But
the Crimson Tide, bro.
The Crimson Tide.
I was just gonna let you roll with it, but go ahead.
You weren't gonna help me or nothing,
no,
right?
I was just gonna let that ride, bro.
I was just like, yeah, I'm just let that ride.
Go ahead.
All right, but you had your Alabama Crimson Tide and your LSU Tigers. I know they're the Tigers. I got that one, all right? 88th time they've met on the field. This time it was in Alabama, Tuscaloosa. For
That was a
me,
shootout.
hey, me coming in this game, I knew that LSU had to do three things to win. They had to continue to do what they've done all year, was just be the best on third downs. They could not turn the ball over, and they had to win the line of scrimmage. Now, Jalen Milroe, 15 for 23, 219 yards. No touchdowns through the air. So they got that covered, right? Because he's got an arm. They got that covered. But what they didn't count on is 20 carries, 155 yards, and 4 touchdowns. James, all year I've been telling you, Alabama, all they had to do was scheme up for Jalen Milroe to get some RPO plays, and there would be nobody to stop them. Because until this game, the best game he's had on rushing was against Mississippi State for 11 carries and 69 yards. So I don't know if Mississippi State is that bad of a defense or if LSU is really that bad of a defense also, because 20 carries, 155 yards, 4 touchdowns. The man was moving. You hear me? Juking people out in their shoes, running over people. See, this is what I need Malik Murphy to be like, but we're not going to talk on that. But yeah, Jalen Milroe, he has that 4.4 speed, and through the air, he didn't get it done, but on his feet, he did. I just don't I don't know. LSU is a great team.
They got no defense though.
They don't, and they had a lot of injuries coming into this game. And one of the reasons I thought that Jalen Milroe was going to have a great game through the air is because they had all their sophomore and freshmen that were in the secondary. Because most of the other players were out; they were hurt. But Jalen Daniels had a great game. Man,
he did all he could, man.
I mean, 15 for 24, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception that was costly in the early fourth quarter. He had 11 carries, 163 yards. So it wasn't like Bama was like holding him, right? They held all the running backs, but as far as the quarterbacks had their way this game.
Exactly. Man, and that's because I wasn't expecting that from Milroe, just because every time I picked the over for this man to run the ball, never hit. But this week he decides to do it. Upsetting times. I mean, good for him, but upsetting times for me because I didn't pick that over. Anyway, Jaden Daniels, though, man, he played his heart out. But it's that LSU defense, man. They could not get a stop to save their lives. And Alabama figured out how to get at least 1 or 2 stops to end up winning the game at the end. But it was still crazy shootout. I didn't expect it to be that like this. I thought it'd be more of a closer game and like low scoring. But total yards between the both of them, LSU 478 total yards and Alabama 507. Crazy, man. And hey, that was a game. A really good game. I was really hoping that LSU would figure it out and how to pull it out, but it was Alabama. Did I pick LSU or did I pick Alabama? I don't even remember what I picked last week.
You picked LSU.
I feel like I picked LSU.
Yeah, you picked LSU. These quarterbacks over 350 yards, all-purpose yards for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
LSU, like their big thing this year is they've completed 57% of their third downs. They're the best in the college football. So in this game, they were 3 for 10, 0 for 3 on fourth downs. Alabama was 4 from 9 and 0 for 2 on fourth downs. So they just couldn't convert. They couldn't get it done. In the second half, they were flat. They only scored 7 points in the second half. Bama scored 21. Remind you, it was a shootout first half. It was being bong. You come out second half and you only put up a 7 ball. It's not looking good.
Yeah.
And their possessions were touchdown, punt, interception, punt, turnover on downs. That's the end of the game. But what we got to talk about is that hit on Jalen.
Did I miss this? I guess I didn't see this hit.
Oh, so yeah, because he went out the game. So
Dang, I missed.
Jalen Daniels, This was in the fourth quarter. Yeah, he drops
Okay.
back, he throws the ball, and the Alabama defender hits him right.
Mm-hmm.
Now they didn't call it targeting, but they called it roughing the passer. But he hit him like right on the chin, and then he drove him into the ground. So that's a new rule: is like you can't drive the quarterback into the ground. Like you can
Yeah.
hit him, but you can't like wrap him up and drive him into the ground, right? When they're defenseless. They were mad he didn't get the call. Do I think it should have been a targeting call? Yeah, I think it should have. But he was down for a good minute. Got up, got out the game. The backup for LSU, don't even know his name. He won't be there next year. I promise you, he won't be starting. Came in the game. They didn't convert. He comes back in the next series, and he's just not. It's just not clicking, right? He goes into the tent, and he didn't come out of the tent until the game was over. So looking like a concussion. I think it was a bad call on the refs. But hopefully he's healthy because they are going to need it. They go back home to face the Florida Gators. The Gators always make this a good game. And LSU is back in Death Valley, so hopefully that gives them a little bit of advantage. But if they have to play that backup quarterback and Daniels is not, it's a wrap.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah,
it's a wrap. And Alabama has to get on the plane and head to Kentucky, and we'll see if they can stop big old Ryan Davis. So
he got stopped this week, so I mean, I think they'll be all right.
I didn't even watch that game. Kentucky made me so mad when they got steamrolled by Georgia, and I'm betting to take it. I'm like, yeah, let's make this a game, right? Absolutely not.
Oh, well, I picked the over for him, and yeah, he didn't hit for me.
Absolutely not. They got steamrolled.
But whatever. It's neither here or there.
Now this next game, me and you had some very good discussions about this. We got Washington against USC. The Washington Huskies against the USC Trojans. I'm gonna make sure I pronounce every team.
I'm about to say, you know that one.
Yeah, I know that one.
Before you get into it, I'll give it to Caleb Williams. He played it. He played well. He balled out. It wasn't looking good at the beginning with his yardage because it was more they were running the ball really well, but he showed out at the end when they needed him, but they still weren't able to pull it out. But go ahead. I just wanted to say, hey, I know I was talking all that hot shit last week about him. He played well.
Yeah, you was talking some hot shit. Some real hot shit. It's fire.
I'll give it to him. Go ahead.
As you know today, just probably minutes before we started recording this podcast, Alex Grinch got fired from USC. And I don't know what took him so long to fire the worst defensive coordinator in the nation. I don't know what took him so long, but they finally did it. I guess it took Caleb Williams to jump the rail and go to his family and for him to start crying to his family because he knows that's it. We're not going to a conference title. We're not going to the playoffs. It's just, I'm just play out this game and I have to go to a bowl, right? That's it. Man, James, out of 10 possessions, Washington scored 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
They punted once. There was 1 interception, and there was 1 turnover on downs.
Yeah, they crazy good. I've never. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go.
I was just saying that. What's it called? I've never watched Washington. Only time I watched a little bit of them was it when they played Oregon, but I didn't watch like the whole game. But they hit on all cylinders: run game, passing game. This quarterback serious. I didn't think I never really thought how good they were until I watched this game, and man, there's something. There's something crazy.
They're more than something. Cause that's crazy how you have 270 yards, 280 yards.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. At what point do you just say? I guess today was the point you said, okay, that's enough. But prior to that, go ahead and get rid of him. At least try to salvage a conference championship. And a lot of people are like, oh, Caleb's, he's a crybaby, this and that. Man, look, I don't know if people ever played football, but when I lost in high school, in the state semifinals, your boy was hurt.
Yeah.
Boy was definitely crying. It wasn't because our defense was trash. I can tell you that. But that hurts, man. He's putting a lot of work into becoming one of the best quarterbacks that'll probably play at USC. But Michael Penix is that guy. Michael Penix is a bad man.
He's him.
He's him. He is definitely him.
This dude Dylan Johnson too, man. 256 yards rushing and 4 TDs. This man was going wild. They had no answer for this dude. I thought it was just Penix that was that guy, but man, their run game and pass game, it did not matter. They was moving up and down the field. It was crazy. I mean, USC, give it to them. They kept up as long as they could, but like you said, that defense, Swiss cheese, bro. Had no type of answer for that offense against Washington offense, man. It was crazy to watch just because they could do anything they wanted. It was, and the receiver, what is his name? From Washington. Oh man, I can't even, I'm gonna say his first name. I can't say it.
Oh, you can't say the name, right?
Oh, I was talking shit last week. Odunze, I think that's how you say his name. Man, this man was crazy, mossing people and everything. He didn't have like a big game, but the catches that he did have, they were contested catches. But yeah, I'm kind of rooting for Washington, but I'm still an Oregon fan, so I kind of can't. But they're a good team. They're a really good team.
If they play again, Johnson didn't have that good a game against Oregon. Like, I don't think he even got that many carries. So if Washington has found a rushing game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be scary for Oregon going into that, because I don't think they got a good defensive line. But if Washington can pass and they can now use that play action because they have such a great rushing game and they make Oregon put 7, 8 in the box, it's not looking good. But
yeah,
USC, we'll see them in the Outback Bowl. We'll see.
Outback Bowl.
And Washington, hopefully, will get in a playoff picture. And we'll see if they continue to do what they can do. But overall, it was a great game. I feel so bad for Caleb, man. That's a lot of criticism to take. Yeah. And he just, he fell apart. To get in the stands and cry to your mom and and they put it on camera. ESPN was right on him.
Yeah, I believe it.
Like, you could see it. I'm just like, yeah, man, it's over with. I think in the post-game interview, he was like, all I just want to do is go home, cuddle with my dogs, and watch the TV show. That's defeated.
Yeah.
Right? That's defeated. Like, you just want to go home and just chill. Hopefully he didn't go home and watch the highlights, but hopefully
he watched his highlights because he balled out.
He did ball out, and that's a good thing. But last but not least, James, because you did talk a lot of shit last week, and I'm gonna just make sure I always bring it up. You told me Oregon State was going to be beat by Colorado.
Hey man, listen, I don't know what's up with this offense, bro. That Colorado offense, oh my goodness, bro. They didn't get nothing going until like 5 minutes left in the game. I don't know. From what I saw when they came into the season, this man Shadir was throwing like 400 yards a game, 4 touchdowns and stuff. And now I don't know what happened to this offense. They have no offensive line. This man's running for his life, getting sacked. throwing it up, praying that somebody catches it out there. Hunter's the only security blanket out there for him right now. It's I don't know. It's ugly. That's all I can say right now. But I did pick him just because. Hey, I'm still gonna ride with Colorado regardless, but they got to figure something out on offense because it was ugly. And those last 2 touchdowns that they scored, it was just basically in garbage time. It wasn't good.
I told you last week. I said they're gonna go. Oregon State's gonna come to their house. It's not even going to be a competition.
You know what's crazy though too? It was their homecoming. I would not have scheduled Oregon State for a homecoming.
Oregon State on homecoming?
Yeah, bro.
Crazy. Absolutely wild. Who schedules Oregon State on homecoming?
Man, I didn't even know that till I looked at their the game and everything. This is at homecoming for Colorado, and I said, "Wait, what? This is not a good game for y'all to have homecoming on."
They recorded 52 yards in the first half.
Man,
of offense. We're talking about an offense that was averaging probably 300 to 400 yards a game, and they only had 52 yards in the first half. They made a coaching change. So they made a play calling change. Deion Sanders was like, I'm taking Sean off play calling. I'm going to put this analyst on. But hear me out. I'm not an offensive expert, okay? I'm not a defensive expert. I'm just, a guy that loves college football. I can analyze it. If you keep getting beat on the offensive line, would you not just go ahead and put a tight end to make sure that at least your blind side is being taken care of? Right?
Yeah, some type of help.
Would you not put a running back in the backfield to make sure that they could stop the pressure coming up the middle?
They needed to.
You got the wide receivers wide receivers have some talent. You got Xavier Weaver. You got plenty of talent out there that can get off the man-to-man coverage. I didn't see any screens. I didn't see really no bubble routes. At some point we have to start blaming the coaching staff, right? We can't blame these kids anymore. I can't be like, the offensive line is trash, this and that. What is the offensive line coach doing during the week? What are we doing during the week?
Man, they out there. He throwing up movies just to watch during the week. You know how what's it called? The end of the school year in high school, or whatever. They just put up movies and you just chill in class. That's what they do in their film session. He's just throwing up Pocahontas or something. They chilling watching movies.
There's no way.
I don't know what he's doing.
There's no scheme to help protect Shador. There's no schemes. Like, even I'm watching the defensive line, bro. They're getting stood up. Like, in Oregon State does have the best offensive line in the Pac-12, I believe. But man, like, have some fight. Do a spin move or something. Like, do a spin move. I would have took some penalties. Grab somebody's face mask or something. Show me that you care, because. But the thing is, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Like, next year, the only thing good about next year is they're going to the Big 12, and it'll be less competition. Like, the Big 12 defensive offensive line compared to the Pac-12 is like night and day. Like, big difference, right? But at the same time, you gotta have something, bro. Like, you can't hit the transfer portal every year and then try to create a balanced offensive line.
Yeah. You
need to take the bad out. You need to sit them on the side. You need to bring the transfer in, and you need a good scheme. I think at this point in the offseason, Deion's got to look in the mirror and be like, I got to really start coaching. I can't just be I can't be a motivational speaker my whole life.
Yeah.
I got to really start coaching. I got to really pick the best coaches to put in place for my team to be successful, because I'm telling you right now, them boys go to the Big 12 last year, and Shador takes, if he gets sacked average 4 or 5 times next year, he's not going to play the end of the year. He will skip that bowl game, and he will go get prepared for the NFL draft. Because I'm telling you right now, NFL, they're looking at him. He's a great
Yeah.
decision maker. They can get him some protection. Even if he got to go to the Chicago Bears, they can get him a little bit. They can give him at least 6 seconds, 7 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's not looking good.
And they have no type of run game either, bro.
None.
Nothing.
None. They need, like none at all. None.
Did you see the total rushing yards for the whole game?
I didn't even look at the stats.
-7 rushing yards. But given Shadir took a few sacks, so it's like he had -37. But the running backs, 4 carries, 17 yards, 2 carries, 8 yards, 5 carries, 6 yards. Where's the rushing attack? If you're not running the ball, then keep the running backs in for protection or something, because obviously y'all don't want to run the ball. Or y'all can't, just because there's no kind of type of scheme for the offensive line to help with the pass game or run game. Like, there's nothing. He should do run for his life and then just throwing it up for prayers and hoping for the best.
I'm telling you right now, if I would have got robbed like I did at UCLA, because their locker room got robbed, all the jury.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm coming out with some flame.
Yeah.
I'm coming out with some flame. I'm not coming out and getting beat at homecoming to Oregon State with the all-black jerseys.
Yep.
Nah, bro. They got to have some pride about that. That's disappointing. But we're going to go ahead and get into these rankings because they did just come out, the AP poll top 25 rankings. You're going to have Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, Washington at number 5, Oregon, Texas, Alabama, Penn State, which I don't think deserves to be there. Ole Miss, Louisville, Oregon State, Utah, Tennessee, Oklahoma State made in the top 15. Missouri, 16, 17, Oklahoma, 18, LSU, 19, Kansas, 20, Tulane, 21, James Madison, baby, still undefeated. 22, Notre Dame, 23, Arizona, 24, North Carolina, and 25, Liberty, still undefeated. I told you about that man Fafita.
Fafita, hey, that man real, bro.
I told you about that man Fafita.
Yeah, he's something serious. He's something serious. I didn't believe you, but yeah, he's something serious. Watching that game, man, I was like, all right, Charles may know what he's talking about.
Hey, Fafita is the real deal. He is the real deal.
Random real quick. Did you see Air Force lose to Army?
I didn't see Air Force lose. I saw the scoreboard, and I was just like, nah, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because Army scored like 25 points, right?
Yeah.
And Air Force only scored 3?
I was shook. I thought they were going 23-3, bro.
I got to go watch that game because something must have happened.
Yeah.
It must have been some internal conflict, like some political stuff that went behind the scenes. They were like, yo, look, y'all got to let us have this dub. It's the Army,
Yeah, it ain't looking good for us this year. Yeah. Just let us have this one.
We're going to give you a little bit off the budget. You know what I mean? We'll have it made up for you.
Yeah, man. Because Air Force was ranked and undefeated and put up 3 points.
They have the number 1 rushing defense in the nation, and I think number 3 in passing. So overall, they're like in the top 5 defense in the nation, and they didn't.
Yeah. I don't know what happened there. I thought they were going to stay undefeated throughout the season, but yeah, they dropped one against Army. Anyways, go ahead.
But just speaking on that, LSU beat them by like 50, and they only scored 3 on LSU, and then you go to Air Force and you score 25.
You go to Army? Oh, yeah, you're right. My fault. I said wrong. Go ahead.
Yeah, something is going on there. I'm telling you, something in the back room happened. Some transactions got cleared. But
that check in is like, all right, we're gonna take this L for you.
Yeah, facts. The college playoff rankings came out last week. They ranked Ohio State 1, 2 Georgia, 3 Michigan, 4 Florida State, 5 was Washington, and 6 was Oregon. So those are the first two teams out was Washington and Oregon. How do you feel about that?
I don't know how. Well, I feel like Georgia plays a tougher schedule than Ohio State. Nothing against Ohio State; they're still a really good team. But I feel like Georgia should have stayed number one. But that's really all I have for half of that because everything else I feel like aligned pretty well. Because I mean Texas is still right in it at number 7. Oregon lost to Washington, so yeah, Washington should be above them. But the number 1 and number 2 spots, I don't know how Ohio State jumped in unless you have more insight on that than me. But I thought Georgia should have stayed at number 1.
So how the committee, mind you, the committee is absolutely insane. You got to look at the committee list one time and see who's picking these games or picking these rankings. They based it off resume, strength of schedule, and basically an eye test, like how good they see you playing in the future, right? So they say Ohio State has a better resume because they beat Notre Dame, they beat Penn State, and that was like their top 2 like good wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
For Georgia, I think Georgia's best win was Kentucky. At the time, it was Kentucky, and then they had another win against Florida.
Okay.
For the third, they put Michigan. Michigan best win has been Indiana, but they just been killing teams. So you got to give them that, right? Florida State best wins were the LSU game at the first of the season. So that really, while they're number 4. But for me, honestly, if I could have done the rankings, it would have been, based off resume and everything, I would have put Ohio State first because they did win against Notre Dame and they did beat Penn State, and Penn State is in the top 10, right?
Yeah.
I would have put Florida State. I would have put Georgia. Then I would have put Michigan, right? Because Michigan has, out of all the teams that are in the rankings, all of them have played each other. Like on the rankings on the top 25, one of those teams have played each other. Michigan has played nobody in that top 25. Yeah. Nobody. So I don't think they deserve to be up there. But at the end of the day, it's going to change every Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see how it's going to be this Tuesday because Ohio State barely beat Rutgers. Well, not barely, but they.
Rutgers put up a fight.
It was like 9-7 at half. So
yeah. The scores came late, like in the fourth too. They had that pick 6 and like I think before halftime, but the rest of it came like fourth quarter. So Rutgers played well.
Washington's got to get in. I think somebody's got to. If Washington, here's the thing. I think they kick out Michigan, right? Because Michigan plays Penn State this week. I think they kick out Michigan. They put in Washington. And because all that scandal and everything's been going on with Michigan also.
Yeah, but he had a whole manifesto about taking over Michigan or whatever.
Absolutely crazy. You gotta love Michigan. So I think Washington gets in, Michigan gets out. If they beat Penn State, I think the committee is going to let this work out and see who loses first.
Yeah. And
then it's going to all go crazy. But we need to go over these games for next week because I need my payback. I need to get it back. I need to get it back in blood because I'm 15-5. What are you, 17-3?
17-3.
All right. So we're gonna go on these games one by one, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. So first, you got Michigan against Penn State, a Big Ten matchup. Who are you taking?
I'm gonna take Penn State. Michigan gonna lose this week.
You're wildin'. You're wildin'. All right, that's a dope for me. I'm taking Michigan. I'm already looking good here. I'm already looking good. All right, Ole Miss, Georgia.
Man, okay. Hear me out. If Ole Miss plays like they played this week, I think they beat Georgia. So I'm gonna take Ole Miss. I'll take an upset this week. Say that.
Listen, I'm gonna take Ole Miss because they've already proved they can win in a shootout when they play LSU.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm gonna take Ole Miss on this. too. So we're doubled up on the upsets. Tennessee versus Missouri, a good SEC battle.
Missouri's gonna take that one.
You're crazy. Joe Milton is him. I'm taking Tennessee. Yeah, see, I'm telling you, I'm gonna catch up to you. Bro. I'm catching up to you this week.
All right.
Florida State versus University of Miami.
I'm just taking Florida State on that one. Miami, they're up and down, so I can't trust them.
Agreed. I agree with that. USC versus Oregon.
Oregon, bro. Can't go against my team.
Caleb, I really want to go with you this week, but I can't, bro. I'm picking Oregon too because I can't. Even though they fired Grinch, it still ain't looking. It still ain't looking
that
good.
Oregon offense be fine on all cylinders, bro. So,
all right, TCU versus Texas.
Texas. This might be like I've been saying the past 2 weeks. It's probably gonna be close, but Texas is gonna win somehow.
I agree. I hope it's not. To be honest with you, if we do lose this game, right? I would have rather us lose to Kansas State than lose to TCU because
for sure.
It looks way worse.
Yeah.
It looks way worse. So we'll both take Texas. Alabama versus Kentucky.
Alabama.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Alabama too. Washington versus Utah.
Washington.
Yeah, we're gonna take Washington. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. All right, here's where we get feisty. Duke versus North Carolina.
Not a Duke fan, so I got to go North Carolina.
Yeah, that's gonna be the win. That's gonna be the one I tied.
Oh hell!
I'm taking Duke.
You gonna go against? Go against my dude Drake May? I hope he throws like 200 touchdowns next Saturday.
You know how his completion percentage was over 50% this week, right? But you know who they played? Campbell.
Okay.
I bet you don't even know where Campbell is, because I don't.
Nah, the Campbell soup.
Exactly. So
man, listen, he's gonna throw a good 4 touchdowns next week. So whatever.
Or you know what? I'm gonna put that on the prop for him to throw under whatever it is, because you said 4.
It's probably gonna be like 3.5 or something like that. Maybe 2.
I'm taking under for sure.
All
right, and last but not least, Ohio State versus Michigan State.
Ohio State.
I'm gonna take Ohio State too.
I think I watched Michigan play. Who they played? Watch them play. Oh, I think I watched them play Michigan. Yeah, they're not good at all.
But Michigan had their signs, you know what I mean? So you really can't,
What are they, like 2-6 or something like that?
Yeah, they're not looking well.
They're not. They don't look super good. So I'm not worried about that game. Not at all.
We'll see how it goes this week. I think I'm gonna get a comeback and hopefully Colorado. I didn't even put the Colorado game on here because I don't even know who they play. I'm just tired of watching.
Who do they play?
I'm not sure.
I think it's.
Is it Washington State?
I want to say you're right.
Washington State hasn't been playing well at all either.
They play Arizona. Yeah.
Oh, Fafita, hey, that's it. That's the game. My boy Fafita putting up record numbers. I'm telling
all right.
Relax.
Relax. But I'll probably, if we did that one too, I'd probably take Arizona.
You're gonna take Arizona?
Yeah. Fafita's he's something serious. I shouldn't have doubted him. Doubted him.
We appreciate y'all coming out, listening to the podcast. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's Over and Under Pod with Charles Comer and James Spencer. The link will be in the bio. Follow us on Instagram, Over and Under Pod 23. We'll be back and have a safe week. Everybody have a great week and Ole Miss.
We out.
Thank you for tuning into the Over Under podcast. please give us feedback on the podcast and leave us a 5-star review if you enjoyed it. Follow us on Instagram at OverUnderPod23 and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All links are in the show description section. Thank you, and see you next time.